Just before we start, just want to see who's on the call. Okay, we'll start. We're going to start with Stefan at the BBC. He's going to do it for BBC Network, and then we'll move on to Rory after that. Yeah, go ahead. Over to you. Go ahead.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
How do you reflect on the turnaround between those second and third tests from pretty devastating defeat at Lords to a comprehensive victory at Headingley?
Yeah, I think it shows the character that we've got in the group, to be honest. There's always sort of quiet confidence going into this game, the way we're trained, the way we're prepared, and sort of see that bear out on the field was fantastic. I thought, we were relentless with the ball, and we created big partnerships with the bat. And obviously Joe went on and got a big score as well. So, for me, it shows the character we have in the group and the confidence that we have within them. Obviously, this will help that as well.
A feature of the Lords game was how fiery India were, particularly on that last day. At Headingley, England were quick out of the traps and India perhaps not quite as chirpy. Is this India team one that if you do get on top of them, maybe a little bit of that fieriness goes out of them quite quickly?
Well, I think the key is just getting on top of them. We know they're a very good team. And once they get on top, it's difficult to stop them. Like you say, we got out the traps the quickest this time. We put them on the back foot and we kept the pressure on them. It shows what you can do if you put teams under pressure. And the game plan that we went in with worked. And I thought the guys executed that very well. But as I say, it shows once you put people on the back foot, when the pressure gets there, then we can get into them.
Looking ahead to this week, can you give us a bit of an update on how some of your players are travelling? So what's the fitness situation of Chris Wokes and Mark Wood? And can you tell us about Josh Butler's personal situation and if he's going to be available both for the 4th test and the 5th test?
Well, I think we'll start with Wood and Wokes. Both of them have come through fine. Wood was bowling yesterday in the morning and at the lunch interval. He's come through fine, so he will be available for selection, and obviously Wokes has played as well, so he now becomes available again. And obviously, with Josh, we'll keep monitoring that.
So, what is the situation with the squad? Is Chris going to be added to it?
Potentially, yes. If he's available, he could potentially be in. I'll speak more about the squad later on once it's all finalised. We're just in the process of doing that at the moment.
And just finally, from me, Joe Root has set a new record for wins as England Test captain. Can you just tell us a little bit about your relationship with him? So maybe, I don't know, all the way back to when you first met him into now the relationship you have with him as coach and captain and how he's changed and grown in that time.
Well, to show my age, I actually used to play cricket against his dad when I was playing for Castleford. He was playing for Sheffield Collegiate. But yeah, obviously Joe and I's relationship is very good. I'd like to think it's very strong. And obviously we get on well. We set the game plan up, as I keep calling it. When I first came into post, we decided what type of cricket we want to play. And we both stuck to that task, and obviously we help each other out on that one. Obviously me with preparation, everything behind the scenes, and Joe on the field. But to see him go on and become England's most successful captain with all those test wins was superb yesterday. It's something I've been looking forward to seeing for a while. So to see him get over that line and see him become the most successful test captain, but equally to see him being so successful with the bat as well, it's just fantastic because he's in a great place at the moment, and I'm really enjoying watching him.
Well, thanks very much.
Pleasure, mate.
Cheers, Stefan. Let's go to Rory and then Dean Wilson. Go ahead, Rory.
Thank you. Hi, Chris. If we go back to the winter and sort of go back to all that rest and rotation and what have you, it was partially with the idea of getting a particular 11 or 12 man team out on the pitch for this big series and maybe going forward to the Ashes. I just wonder if the manner of the performance this week with the likes of David Malan and Hasib, Craig Overton in there, even Moeen, it wasn't really the team that you were working so hard to preserve for this summer and fall. So I just wonder if you've changed your perspective a little bit on flexibility and just looking at different players and not necessarily always planning ahead and using that rotation policy to protect certain players.
To be honest, I don't regret 1 minute what we did in the winter. to be honest. I think we always put our people first, and that's what we did. We looked after the guys, and it's, although obviously we're looking at other people now, obviously with the players you've just mentioned, I think it was the right thing to do in the winter. And should we be faced with a similar situation at any other point, it's certainly something I would have to consider doing as well. So I think it's imperative that we look after the people we've got, whether it be staff, players, or whoever. We've got to give them the best opportunity to perform, and that's what we try to do. But again, the players that you mentioned, to see them come in and perform the way they did was fantastic for me. Really enjoyed seeing that. Craig, for one instance, he's come around in the squad with us for so long now. Seeing get out in the park and to perform the way he did was a credit to him and the character that he's got there. He was again relentless with the ball, tall, got bounce, he found movement, and then with the bat, he showed how capable he was. Obviously, David coming in at number 3 showed the experience he had there, and he's openly talked about the fact that this time he's going to enjoy it, and you could see him enjoying it when he's on the field. And sort of talking in the dressing room and everything. So it's great that these guys have come back in and performed the way they have, really, and brought their experience in and their character.
Can you tell us about how you see Ollie Robinson? Obviously, he's had a really impressive start to his career here, and I suppose England have been looking for that guy maybe who might lead that attack for the next however many years to come. Underneath Jimmy and Stuart, is he that guy? Is he going to be a player of some great significance to English cricket?
Well, I think he's certainly put his best foot forward, hasn't he? You look at the performance he's got out there, but he does the basics very well. If there's any movement there, he finds it. He's relentless with the way he attacks the stumps. He's got a lot of really good attributes there, and there's nothing to say that he won't have a great career in front of him. He just, stays fit and keeps doing what he's doing, really. But he does the basics really well. Extracts bounce. He's tall. He's got a high release point. He's got a lot going for him.
And just lastly from me, do you we have those touchstone series that we all remember all the way going back to 2005 in this recent times. Do you get the feeling that this 2021 series against India, it might be one we look back on in years to come as a classic?
Well, you'd hope so. There's been some good cricket already by both sides. It's obviously, we know India are a very good side, and difficult to beat. But what we've shown is we've got the class in there to do that as well and match them. We've been behind before. I think we spoke about this last time. Obviously, after the Lord's Test, we've gone 1-0 down before and come back and won the series. And all being well, we're going to keep challenging to do that. We'll see some great cricket, and maybe it will be one of those series that we look back and go, wow, that was fantastic. Pleasure, mate.
Okay, we've got Dean and Chris Stocks.
Morning, Chris. Congrats on the win. Is Joe Root a great Test captain?
I think he's a good Test captain, yeah, absolutely. I think he is. I think he's growing all the time. I think he's learning all the time. And we saw that last week as well. Coming out of the Lord's Test, he reflected back on some of the decisions he made, as did I, to be honest. You look back and he learns. And I think that's one of the great things is that he does learn as he's going along, and we've seen that. And I think that's a great characteristic for a captain to have, the fact that he can reflect back honestly on what's happened and then make a difference. And he's certainly made a difference this game.
I don't know whether that was a intentional change of words, but my question was: is Joe Root a great England captain?
I think he's got potential to be, yes. I do.
Okay, so at the moment there's still room to get that greatness. And the reason I ask, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be facetious, just that Michael Vaughan, the man whose record he's beaten, and someone obviously who Joe knows ever so well, has said today, he won't be a great captain until he wins the Ashes. And I just wonder if that's a fair comment and something that really ultimately defines England and I suppose vice Australian captains.
Well, first, I think it's great that Joe has got that record now. No one can take that away from him. He's there and he's done it. He's achieved that. And obviously, we're going to go out to the end. And if we win that, then we can have this conversation again. But I think there's potential there for him to be one of the great England captains, yes.
Do you have a tough decision to make in terms of the side of the Oval? I know you said that you're going to settle on the squad later, and Chris Woakes likely to come in. Do you have a decision to make, not just on form, with the likes of Ollie and Jimmy playing so well, but 3 back-to-back matches? Are you kind of mindful of being able to get what you can out of them across the next 2, or do you are you inclined to just play your best team for the next game and worry about Old Trafford when that comes along?
Well, to be honest, we'll obviously get down to London and I'll see how the guys are travelling and we'll make decisions from there. What I don't want to do is break. Obviously, we've got a lot of cricket in front of us. As you said, the tests are coming sort of thick and fast now, back to back. It is difficult. These guys are giving everything every day when we're out in the field, and we've got to make sure that we're looking after them. But I won't be making any decisions or judgments right now until we get to London. And we can obviously see where we're at and see how people are travelling.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Dean.
Cheers, Dean. Chris Stocks and then Paul Newman.
Hi, Chris. Just wondered whether you would have any hesitation handing the gloves to Johnny Bairstow in either of these final 2 tests, depending on Joss's availability. Is Johnny up for doing that? And is it fair to him to give him another role when he's obviously been given the number 5 role in this series, and he's not really had a very settled time in this test team over a number of years?
Well, to be honest, the simple answer is yes. I'm confident that Johnny can do the job if asked, and yes, Johnny would want to do the job if asked as well. So we've already had those conversations. So he's happy to do that. Fine.
And also, a batsman may need to come in depending on what's going on with Joss. Can you just tell us who is ahead in terms of Dan Lawrence and Ollie Pope?
Well, I think we've got 2 fantastic young players there. We've got 2 very, very good young players that are capable of coming into the team at any point. They've both had some experience in there now. So again, that'll be something that we'll be looking at down in London. Obviously, Joe and I will talk about that. I'll speak to, obviously, my coaches as well, and we'll make a decision later on, but I've certainly not made a decision yet.
Does it help Dan that he's going to be playing some championship cricket this week?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for him. I wouldn't say it helps him anymore, but I think Dan wants to go play some cricket. He wants to spend a bit of time in the field, and obviously a bit of time with the bat in his hand. And I fully support that. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Chris. Just following on from what Rory said earlier, really. Obviously, you had some, very well laid out plans when you took over, and you were talking about pace in Australia and some batsmen you invested a lot in. But obviously, things have changed through circumstances out of your control. A lot of them, a couple of batsmen have fallen by the wayside. Some of the fast bowlers are injured. Is it a case of almost, stumbling on a winning combination by accident because of these circumstances?
To be honest, I feel lucky that I've got the players there that I can call upon to sort of come in and do the job that they have done, to be honest. We have been operating with a wider group of players. Obviously, COVID has allowed us to do that, which has been great. So it means I've sort of had eyes on many more players. And when I've asked these players to step up, they have done. So it's, I think life does throw you a few curveballs every now and again. And obviously from a fast bowling situation, we'd love to have more of them online. We all know that. The fact is we haven't at the moment. So we've got to deal with what we've got. And I think the guys that have come in have showed a bit of class there.
And you were saying that you obviously won't want to break any of the fast bowlers, such a demanding schedule. But would it be hard to tell someone like Jimmy, for instance, that he's not playing at the Oval?
Yeah, very. He won't. But no, like I say, it's the good thing is that we've actually got a little bit of, space. Of a gap now. We've got an extra day off. The guys can get their feet up. Do the rest and recovery and everything. So hopefully we'll be as fresh when we get to the Oval.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll finish with 2 more, Ali, and then Julian to finish. Go ahead, Ali.
Hi, Spoons. Just wondering what that win meant for you on a personal level, both as a sort of Yorkshireman returning to Headingley, but also, after a run of 7 tests without a win, were you starting to sort of question some of your methods? Were you starting to worry about your position? That kind of side of things. Or what did the win do for you?
Well, personally, it was a great win for me. Obviously, do it back at Headingley in front of a big crowd there was great. But to be honest, I've said this to you before, but I don't particularly worry about my position. It's something that I make a conscious effort not to do because I think it'll cloud my judgment. And I've got to continue to make decisions that I believe is best for the team, and obviously regardless of my situation, I've got to keep making, you know, like I said, making those decisions, but with the team coming first, and that's what I try to do, to be honest.
And just, I appreciate cricket's not a contact sport, but I'm just wondering, when you've got guys like Ollie Robinson and Craig Overton, do they kind of give you a bit of a presence out in the middle, especially without Ben Stokes, who normally kind of fulfills that role?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, obviously they're both, you know, I mean, sort of big lads, you know, I mean, physically, and I think they've both got great character. And when they're out there, you can see that coming out of them. I mean, they both get into the battle. Which is great for the players out there. There's plenty of energy there. You know, I mean, they're relentless with what they do, with the skills, and I think that sort of physicality and the character that comes with them does give you that presence on the field.
Because, and also there was a kind of a slight difference, I suppose, to the last day at Lords in terms of probably, fair to say, slightly more controlled aggression out there.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it earlier. Joe and I reflected back on obviously the Lord's test. Where can we learn? How do we get better? And I think there was a controlled aggression around what they did. You know, I mean, the way that they hit the lengths hard, the way that they put the tail under pressure with making them make good decisions all the time. I think you can be aggressive in a very controlled way, and I think that's what we got right.
Thanks.
Last one, Julian, go ahead.
Yeah. Morning, Chris. Congratulations on the victory. I was just wondering, I know you can't judge always too much from just the one game, but when the openers were putting the partnership together, Rory and Hasib were sharing that century stand, did you feel the mood changing in the dressing room? And when did people start to think, yeah, this is great?
But to be honest, I mean, it's like I said, the whole sort of build up and throughout the game, there's been a great feel in the dressing room. It's been very calm, very relaxed, but very focused as well on the task at hand. But certainly, I mean, the confidence that comes when you put a partnership like that on to start with, I mean, the confidence that builds within the dressing room does really help. It goes a long way to helping us achieve the goal of those big first innings runs, the partnerships, and the individual to go on. And I mean, you've got people like Joe coming in, sort of when the bowlers are into the second and third spells and things like that. He's going to hurt people, and that's exactly what he did. So I think, I mean, the openers have to take a lot of credit for putting us in a position that they did. I thought they were great. And
sorry, just as a follow-up, I mean, Hasib, he had a tricky return to Test cricket. What did you make of his performance in getting that 50 in the innings at Headingley?
I thought it was good. You know, the way he's trained, the way he's, I mean, the build-up to him sort of coming back into the team, you know, he's carried himself very well, and I think that reflected in the way he played out there. You know, I mean, he showed a lot of control. You know, I mean, there's some class while he was out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Julian.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.